My girlfriend's family said I would never be good enough. I nodded, walked out, and pulled the contract that was keeping their company alive. Okay, so this happened 2 weeks ago and I am still processing it. My hands are literally shaking as I type this because I cannot believe what I did. But also, I cannot believe I had to do it in the first place. I am Rico, 29, and I work operations for Qley Hospitality Development here in Austin. It is my dad Graham's company, and we have built hotels across Texas and New Mexico for the past 15 years. I actually started my career at a construction software firm, which is how I got to know everyone in the hospitality and real estate development world. But I joined the family business 3 years ago. 7 months ago, I was engaged to Qley. She is 31, does freelance PR, and honestly, she is incredible at reading people and managing images. That is probably why what happened hurt so much, because she knew exactly what she was doing. Qley's parents are Randall and Bethany Hale. Randall owns Hale Millworks and Design, which does architectural millwork for hotels and corporate buildings. Beautiful work, but they had been struggling with cash flow for over a year. Bethany is one of those women who runs every charity board in town and makes sure everyone knows about it. Here is where I made what might have been the biggest mistake of my life, or maybe the smartest thing I ever did. When Qley Development was renovating this hotel in San Antonio, I advocated hard for Hale Millworks to get the lobby and executive lounge package. We are talking $1.2 million in millwork. I pushed for them because I genuinely believed in Randall's craftsmanship, and yes, because I was marrying his daughter. The contract had all the standard protections built in: quality control gates, progress payments, and something called termination for convenience with an $85,000 kill fee. Basically, if Qley Development decided to end the contract for any reason that wasn't Hale's fault, we would pay them $85,000 and walk away. It is industry standard, but most people never think it will actually get triggered. The deposits and early payments let Hale hire back crews they had laid off and reopen credit lines with suppliers. Within a month, Randall was walking taller, and Bethany started making comments about upgrading our wedding to something that would reflect our family's standing better. Qley and I had already agreed on a budget, but her parents kept pushing for more expensive venues, more elaborate flowers, a bigger guest list. Fast forward to last Thursday night. We are at this rehearsal wine tasting at a hill country winery, and everything seemed fine. The wedding was supposed to be in 6 days. 6 days, we are tasting wines, talking about seating charts, normal pre-wedding stuff. Then Bethany makes this announcement. She says they have found a better venue, this estate that costs 3 times what we had budgeted, and we need to switch because it would reflect our family's standing appropriately. I said very calmly that we had already committed to our budget and our venue, and I wasn't comfortable with the change. That is when Randall decided to put me in his place. He looked right at me and said, "Rico, you are a good guy, but let's be honest, you are not really on Qley's level. This family has standards." I looked at Qley, waiting for her to say something. Anything. She just stared at her wine glass. Then she looked up and said, "Maybe we should just call off the wedding." I nodded, put down my glass, walked over to the host station, paid the entire bill for everyone, and left. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just left. But here is the thing. I made one phone call from my car in that parking lot. I called my dad. I said, "Hey, remember that termination for convenience clause in the Hale contract?" There was this long pause. Then he said, "Son, that will cost us money and create a logistics nightmare. But family comes first. Are you absolutely sure about this?" I said, "I am sure." Friday morning, Qley Legal couriered a notice of termination for convenience to Hale's office. Contract terminated, effective immediately. $85,000 fee to be processed within 10 business days. By 10 a.m., my phone started ringing. Randall, Qley, Bethany. I didn't answer any of them. Our company Slack channel lit up with updates. Vendor replacement confirmed. New timeline established. Project continuity maintained. I replied to that thread with one word: received. But that is not even the craziest part. Apparently, the HOA Facebook group and neighborhood gossip network had already picked up that Hale lost a major contract. People were asking questions. The missed calls kept coming all day. I am sitting here watching my phone buzz and wondering if I just destroyed a family business out of spite, or if I finally learned how to set boundaries. What do you think? Reddit. Did I overreact? Or was this a long time coming? Update 1. Thank you all for the comments. I have been reading every single one, and honestly, your perspectives helped me see this situation more clearly. A lot of you asked about the immediate fallout. So here is what happened in those first few days. The voicemail started Friday around noon. First one was Randall. Very business. Like, Rico, there must be some clerical error with this termination notice. Call me back so we can sort this out. By 3 p.m., the tone shifted completely. Rico, the bank just froze our line of credit. We have materials on deposit and crews expecting payment. You need to call me back immediately. The Friday night voicemail was Randall again, but now his voice was shaking. We cannot make payroll without the next progress payment. Please call me back. I didn't answer any of them. I will be honest, part of me felt sick listening to these messages, but every time I thought about calling back, I remembered sitting at that wine tasting while they told me I wasn't good enough for their daughter. Qley called Friday night at 10:47. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. She was sobbing. Rico, it was just a stupid fight. How could you destroy my dad's company? Do you have any idea how many people work for him? I said, Qley. Your family looked me in the eye and declared I wasn't worthy of you. You agreed with them. The goodwill that came with our relationship ended when you ended our relationship. Then she switched tactics completely. The crying stopped, and suddenly she was in PR mode. Look, we can tell Graham this was just emotional stress before a wedding. People fight. We can reverse this and work on fixing us. I asked her something that has been eating at me for months. Qley, are you loving me or are you pricing me? Dead silence. Then she hung up. Saturday morning, Bethany showed up at my doorstep. I recorded the conversation because Texas is a one-party consent state. And honestly, I was starting to realize I might need to protect myself legally. She went full guilt trip, talked about the workers who wouldn't be able to pay for Christmas presents for their kids. How devastated Qley was. How I was destroying a family business over a misunderstanding. Then she dropped this bomb. Qley is keeping the engagement ring. After what you have put this family through, consider it compensation for emotional damages. I didn't argue with her. I just listened and kept recording. Here is where things get interesting, and this is the part I definitely didn't see coming. Monday morning, Qley called me with an update. When they were processing the contract termination, they found something weird in the paperwork. Change order. Number 4 had a request for a $120,000 advance payment, supposedly signed by my dad Graham. But the digital signature looked wrong. The audit trail showed some inconsistencies. Qley sent a notice of potential fraud to Hale's bank and their primary suppliers. They didn't file criminal charges, but it was enough to make everyone nervous about extending credit. By Wednesday, I got an email that really surprised me. It was from Tom, who is the shop foreman at Hale Millworks. Tom's 45, been doing this work for 20 years, and he is the kind of craftsman who takes real pride in what he builds. His email said, Rico, I just quit. Randall told me to downgrade the wood grade for the next material shipment to save money. It will not meet fire rating specs for public spaces, and it definitely will not meet the quality standards in your contract. I cannot put my name on substandard work. Thanks for believing in us when you advocated for this job. Sorry it ended like this. I stared at that email for a long time. This wasn't just about a broken engagement anymore. This was about a man who had been doing honest work for decades having to choose between his integrity and his paycheck. I forwarded Tom's email to Qley and copied our owner's representative on the San Antonio project. I didn't post anything on social media. I didn't tell anyone except my dad, but I knew this information needed to be documented. The missed calls from Qley's family stopped after Wednesday. I think they finally realized I wasn't going to answer. Reddit. I am starting to think this goes way deeper than just wedding drama. What would you do with that information from Tom? Update 2. Holy shit, you guys. I mean, excuse my language, but I honestly did not expect things to escalate like this. Your comments on the last update really helped me understand that I was dealing with something bigger than just hurt feelings. So thank you for that perspective. First, let me address the character assassination campaign. Because that is exactly what it was. Bethany went full nuclear on the neighborhood gossip network. The story she has been spreading is that I am a controlling, vindictive man who used a business contract to punish Qley for standing up to me and not letting me dictate her family's financial decisions. According to her version, I am some kind of manipulative monster who destroyed an innocent family business because my ego couldn't handle being told. No. Here is the thing, though. While Bethany was busy spinning her narrative on Facebook and at her charity board meetings, Qley Development maintained complete professional neutrality. When industry publications asked about the contract termination, our only statement was, contract terminated for convenience, per standard terms. Replacement vendor engaged, project timeline maintained, no further comment. The contrast was pretty stark. On one side, you had emotional drama and accusations. On the other side, you had professional documentation and business as usual operations. People in our industry noticed the difference. Meanwhile, Tom's information opened up a whole can of worms I definitely wasn't expecting. Remember, he had told me about Randall planning to downgrade materials to save money. Well, Tom didn't just send me an email. He sent me photos of the packing lists, purchase orders, and material specifications. He also sent me documentation showing that the lower grade wood was missing the class of flame spread certification required for public spaces in hotels. I didn't post any of this online. I didn't leak it to industry contacts. I just forwarded everything to Qley Legal and our owner's rep, exactly like I was supposed to do as an employee who had discovered potential safety violations. But information travels fast in construction circles. Within 2 weeks, I heard through the grapevine that a major general contractor had quietly removed Hale Millworks from their approved vendor list. No announcement, no drama, just a quiet administrative decision. Hale's bank also moved their account to what they call special assets monitoring, which basically means they are watching every transaction. Here is where the ring situation gets really interesting. I retained a civil attorney, not someone from Qley's firm, to handle this separately from the business issues. The attorney sent Qley a demand letter for the $9,500 engagement ring, including the original appraisal documentation. Qley ignored the letter completely, so my attorney filed a claim in small claims court in most states, including Texas. An engagement ring is considered a gift given in contemplation of marriage. No marriage means the ring goes back to the person who bought it. It is pretty straightforward legally. Qley's response was to send me a 3-page email about my soullessness for suing her family while they are losing their home, and how I was kicking them while they are down. She went into detail about their financial struggles and how the engagement ring was the only valuable thing she had left. I forwarded that email directly to my attorney as evidence that she admitted having the ring and intended to keep it despite the legal demand. But here is something I did that I am actually proud of. I quietly reached out to the replacement vendor and recommended Tom and 2 other senior craftsmen from Hale's shop. All 3 of them got hired immediately. I didn't announce this anywhere. I didn't use it for social media points. I just knew these were good people who deserved to keep working. The crazy part is that Qley's family still has no idea I helped their former employees find new jobs. They are so focused on painting me as the villain that they cannot see I am actually trying to take care of the people who got caught in the middle of this mess. 2 weeks ago, I was driving through their neighborhood to visit a friend, and I saw something that honestly made my stomach drop. There is a for sale sign on the Hale family lawn. Yesterday, I received a cease and desist letter alleging tortious interference with Hale's business relationships. It came from some strip mall law office I had never heard of. Clearly a template someone downloaded from the internet. Qley Legal's response was beautiful in its simplicity. Reference contract clause. 14. Termination for convenience. No legal basis for interference claim. Standard business practice per industry norms. Reddit. I keep waiting for someone to tell me I am the asshole here. But everything that is happening seems like natural consequences of decisions other people made. Am I missing something? Final update. This is probably my last update on this situation. And honestly, I am ready to close this chapter of my life. Thank you to everyone who has been following this story and offering advice. Your perspectives helped me stay grounded when things got really weird. The small claims hearing for the engagement ring was exactly as glamorous as you would expect. Fluorescent lighting, folding chairs, and a judge who clearly wanted to get through his docket as quickly as possible. Qley showed up representing herself and gave this tearful 15-minute speech about love, betrayal, and emotional damages. She painted me as someone who had abandoned her family in their darkest hour and claimed the ring was compensation for her suffering. My attorney just presented facts. Engagement date, ring purchase receipt, original appraisal, Qley's statement calling off the wedding, demand letters, and Qley's own email admitting she had the ring and intended to keep it. The whole presentation took maybe 5 minutes. The judge looked tired. He said, "An engagement ring is a conditional gift given in contemplation of marriage. Since the engagement was terminated, the defendant must return the ring to the plaintiff. 10 business days. 1 week later, the ring arrived at my attorney's office in a cheap padded envelope. No note, no message. Nothing. Just the ring I had spent 3 months picking out. Now feeling like evidence from someone else's life. The longer-term consequences for Hale's family have been pretty brutal, and I am not going to lie. Watching it unfold has been harder than I expected. Hale Millworks lost their credit lines and couldn't secure new projects. They shut down completely about 4 months after the contract termination. Randall had to sign a civil settlement with one of his suppliers to avoid a much bigger lawsuit. The family house sold below asking price, and they moved into a rental townhouse across town. Bethany stepped down from all her charity board positions. Qley pivoted to doing PR for a yoga studio, and as far as I know, never tried to contact me again. But here is what happened to me during all this. And honestly, this is the part that matters most. I moved into an apartment near Lady Bird Lake and started seeing a therapist to work through some stuff. Not just about Qley and her family, but about why I had spent so long accepting treatment that made me feel small. I stepped completely off personal social media for about 2 months. Instead of scrolling through other people's highlight reels, I started hiking hill country trails on weekends and volunteering with a local nonprofit that repairs roofs for senior citizens. There is something about physical work that helps me think clearly. Work-wise, I spent 4 months leading a product rollout for a hotel chain in Denver, then came back to Austin. The project went really well. And honestly, I think the whole experience with Qley's family taught me something important about professional boundaries and standing up for quality standards. At a family dinner last month, my dad said something that stuck with me. Family first, but also process first. You honored both. I just nodded. I didn't feel triumphant about it, just steady. Last week, I stopped by the San Antonio hotel to see how the lobby renovation turned out. Tom and the new millwork crew were just finishing the installation, and the work looked absolutely beautiful. Everything to specification, everything built to last. I got a text from an unknown number while I was standing there. Thanks for the referral. It was Tom. I texted back, do good work. Walking out of that hotel lobby, I realized something. Qley's family told me I would never be good enough for their daughter. Turns out the only thing I needed to raise was my boundaries. I am doing fine now. Better than fine. Actually, sometimes the best thing someone can do for you is show you exactly who they are when they think they have power over you. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Take care of yourselves.